Curtis 50 Cent Jackson recently elevated the game of trolling to a corporate takeover in the harsh world of hip-hop, where a single post may ruin a reputation built on power. This isn't just another lyrical dispute or social media spat. It's a high-stakes real estate struggle that has completely upended the industry. 50 Cent is the only name that sticks out in the headlines. What about the victim? The Harlem resident is Jim Jones. After 50 Cent shared a breathtaking surveillance video that left fans speechless, chaos ensued. The video shows a visibly agitated Jim Jones kicking the door of his own studio in an attempt to enter. The explanation is unnerving though, because the doors are still closed. It is alleged that 50 Cent not only insulted Jim, but also bought the building. "I'm with Sam. I now have this." 50's cold, cunning captions made it obvious that Jim Jones, Menno, and Fabolous were squatters on his property. Instead of just claiming victory, 50 Cent is claiming ownership. He revealed details regarding unpaid rent, missing leases, and a legal issue that seems to have deprived Jim Jones of his creative sanctuary. There is a lot of activity on the internet. Did 50 Cent really buy his competitor's company to force him out? It was an obvious warning. You're going to pay for every ding in that door, because I own this. Or have we never seen such clever psychological warfare? With the spread of the video, the plot shifts from music to complete dominion. With his landlord potentially becoming his worst enemy, Jim Jones, a veteran who takes immense pride in his street cred, finds himself in a dire situation. Here is an explanation of how the material, videos, and I own warning that changed the trajectory of their feud forever were leaked by 50 Cent. Don't let go. The goal of his for 50's chess moves is to financially and emotionally ruin his opponents. Curtis 50 Cent Jackson recently reinvented the concept of savagery. This isn't your typical social media feud, and it's most definitely not just about rhythmic insults or poetic subdine. In the brutal and unforgiving world of the contemporary hip-hop industry, where a single viral moment can ruin a reputation based on power, Jackson has just reinvented what it means to be savage. This multi-million-dollar corporate takeover is causing a great deal of shock and surprise within the music business. At the center of it all is 50 Cent's undoubtedly alarming remark to Jim Jones. The blogosphere are on fire. The headlines are screaming, "This is mine." Instead of posting a celebrity social media update, 50 Cent caused a stir by sharing shocking surveillance footage that looked more like a scene from a horrific crime fiction. The footage shows Jim Jones, a veteran of Harlem, seeming clearly upset and irritated. Through the grainy lens of a security camera, he can be seen frantically kicking down the doors of his own studio in an attempt to break into the building where he has spent years producing his popular Let's Rap About It podcast and building his reputation. But all the lights were out inside. It's unsettling. What caused this lockout? And the lock stayed in place through a clever partnership with the original landlord and a calculated smirk. 50 Cent allegedly insulted Jim Jones from a distance and used a clever legal maneuver to purchase the building outright from him, turning a professional haven into a trap dot in his biggest rival's workplace. 50 Cent has effectively assumed the role of boss. But he didn't end there. Jim Jones, Menno, and Fabolous squatters were summoned too. He recently bought private property and issued a dire warning to the public. The message was loud, obvious, and intensely intimate. On Monday, you will have to pay for each ding you make in that door. On this issue, the internet is divided. There are others who think that 50 Cent has ruined Jim Jones' financial empire overnight by sheer financial power, while others wonder if this is his most sophisticated and ingenious psychological warfare strategy. Understanding the magnitude of this shift requires looking at the previous confrontations between these two symbols. Gunnett's Head and the Diplomat's frontman have been at conflict for years. Nevertheless, 50 Cent has consistently preferred the boardroom and the courts, while most rappers settle their conflicts in a recording studio. In addition to winning a debate, he wants to own the precise foundation that his rivals rely on. Not only has 50 Cent acquired a framework, but he has also taken command of his rivals' daily operations by making the purchase of this specific Bronx property. He has turned their place of employment into a surveillance center with cameras under his control, keeping an eye on everyone's movements in case they think they could play tricks on the mogul. 50 Cent acted as a sobering mogul in the video footage he made public. For example, "We all know this, so let's have a look at." And as everyone knows, I've been investigating that we are my peeries with cars that we now control. The monitor can read and spend candy of canry with confirming. I'm willing to use can sing if they read. If they do, we're at Kwezi Riwad Bayou, at Camus with the Unkogel, and so on. We like Iwa to need a king, and we take reminder. It shows a part of the company that is rarely viewed. Legal ownership and the harsh, unforgiving realities of property rights. Even Jim Jones, who prides himself on his street cred and his lengthy tenure in New York, couldn't stop an official notice of eviction and a set of newly cut hair. As an experienced performer trying to take back a place that no longer belongs to him, the picture of the fact that he kicked the door is a powerful metaphor for his current situation. The former resident's lack of documentation and accountability was made fun of. In the business world, if you can't stop a man's voice, you take away his microphone, as 50 Cent pointed out in his insightful commentary on the video. According to, this move is the best chess move ever. If you are unable to take him out of the space, you his microphone. 50 Cent has done just that. Without firing a single shot or dropping a single diss track, he has effectively denied his rivals a major platform. Knowing your landlord is your worst enemy can have a psychological effect that causes anyone to lose focus. Imagine trying to capture a podcaster's song while knowing that the person who owns the walls around you is deliberately trying to destroy you and documenting all of your mistakes for millions of listeners to see. The ramifications of this warning are extensive. The structure itself is less significant than the message it sends to the whole entertainment industry. The fact that 50 Cent has accumulated enough wealth and influence to openly interfere in other people's affairs is a sign, matters. By bringing on a partner named Sam, whom he refers to as the real deal, he is now functioning under the rules of business acquisition and real estate instead of the music career. 50 is proving he has the backing and legal expertise to properly implement these plans. It is clear to Jim Jones and his group that their days of living for nothing or following their own rules are coming to an end, are not accessible anymore. With millions of people watching the video of Jim's desperation, the narrative has evolved from a simple argument to one of total financial power. The Let's Rap About It crew might lose their security, their archive, and their equipment. Thus, the problem is not limited to the studio. A legal clock is running out, and 50 Cent's warning about the Monday deadline suggests that if the demands are not met, there might be more dire consequences than just a lockout. He has made references to everything from property damage lawsuits to the permanent seizure of any valuables left inside the building. Hip-hop fans are witnessing the real-time transformation of the way feuds are handled. An action that changed the course of events is breaking down right now. Emotion when the bag is highlighted rather than the bars. 50 Cent has highlighted his contemporaries' financial shortcomings, demonstrating a lack of true ownership in what he says. Of those who speak at its loudest, the I don't warning is a rallying cry for a battle that is being fought that most people are unaware is taking place in the background of bank transactions at real estate offices. This introduction lays the groundwork for a much more in-depth analysis of the financial trap generated. The question of how Jim Jones got into this situation and his future ambitions is raised. Will in court? Did he defend himself? Will a new home be found for his show? Alternatively, will he have to negotiate with a man who clearly does not wish to simplify things for him? The world can watch everything Jim Jones does, and he has been deftly backed into a situation where his options are few. For those who are at fault, the first severe lesson in the landlord-rapper era is found in the act's side. As the financial crisis is explained in further detail, it becomes clear that this is only the beginning. The history of the lease and the reaction of the streets of New York to the song. There will be more films, updates, and song demonstrating 50 Cent's total dominance over the problem, as he continues to show that he is always one step ahead of the competition in both life and industry. He is enjoying every second of this takeover. Jim Jones views the words "I own warning" as more than just a slogan. It is a new reality, and the weight of it is starting to erode the foundation of his career. A dreadful new chapter in hip-hop history. Rivalries have started when moves from a verbal dispute to a full-fledged seizure of actual property. Instead of just stumbling upon this opportunity, 50 Cent pursued with the precision of a corporate shark. He realized that a modern artist's infrastructure is their greatest vulnerability. Jim Jones was busy filming episodes and giving presentations, and 50 Cent was auditing the very property he was standing on behind the scenes. An image of aristocracy in Harlem. He discovered that Jim's on-screen opulence and the studio were significantly at odds. The real legal status of Lisa. It took these first 50 to start a strike that would do more damage than any diss track could. The building's legal ownership was the first thing he addressed, avoiding social media. Through the formation of a strategic partnership with the original landlord, Clamor 50, Cent effectively changed the rules of the game overnight. The man was named Sam. In addition to becoming a landowner, he also became a gatekeeper. He wasn't just posting that CCTV footage of Jim Jones kicking the door to show a man in a rage. He had a man in front of him who had been evicted from his own workplace. The power had been switched off. The security codes had been cleared and the locks had been changed. For Jim Jones, it was a physical and mental prison. Having his. Be careful. Take responsibility for this. Jim Jones's career in that field was unquestionably over. According to 50 Cent, so swiftly did the power change occur that Jim and his crew, including Menno and Fabulous, were left scrambling to determine their legal position in a facility that no longer recognized them. This action is meant to progressively ruin Jim's brand and has disastrous financial repercussions. The studio has a massive debt of around $250,000 in past due rent, as 50 Cent has publicly stated. 50 Cent assumed ownership of the company and is now liable for the debt. He is no longer only a rival rapper, but Jim Jones' primary creditor. Jim is caught in a dangerous position. Theoretically, he is spending 50 cents each time he tries to record content or do business. The deadline notice for Monday was a well-thought-out threat. In essence, if the bill wasn't settled or the item wasn't removed by that date, 50 Cent threatened to begin a full legal seizure of all inside the building. This includes the costly cameras, recording equipment, furniture, and most importantly, podcasts and digital archives. The awful thing about this approach is that 50 Cent is using the legal system as a means of humiliation. He pointed out that in the video he uploaded, Jim was kicking the door and causing damage to the property. This gives 50 Cent more legal leverage to ask for damages and restraining orders. He's trying to get Jim to act inconsistently, knowing that every outburst is being recorded by the cameras that 50 now has. He is effectively taking his enemy's demise and turning it into a reality show, with the enemy's own studio serving as the stage. What? The psychological toll of knowing that your rival is watching everything you do is enough to put a halt to any business venture. Jim Jones is currently fighting for more than just his reputation. He is fighting for his ability to enter his employment. Anxiety and awe have been mixed reactions in that industry. Worried that 50 Cent would, other artists are looking at their own leases and company arrangements in order to find a gap in their own life. To his finest. This is petty 50, but the wealth that underpins it makes the pettiness dangerous. Without ever stepping into a recording booth, he is proving that he can ruin the lives of other men. By accusing Jim and his friends of being squatters, he is weakening their respect. The opposite of being a boss in hip-hop culture is being a squatter. It implies that you rely on the kindness or dishonesty of others to support yourself. 50 Cent is erasing Jim Jones' decades-long reputation as a boss and replacing it with that of a man who is barely able to make ends meet. Insinuating that he plans to turn the Let's Rap About It studio into a Gunnet media center, 50 Cent has continued to tighten the rope as the deadline approaches. He said that he is already conducting interviews with potential new hires to fill the space. To place the 50 Cent emblem on the walls where Jim Jones used to hold court would be the height of disrespect. Taking control of the narrative, not just the geographical location, is the focus of the I Own warning. By releasing financial records and security footage that shows a failing business, 50 Cent is controlling the information flow. In the event that Jim Jones finds a new studio, his business reputation could be permanently damaged. Who would wish to work with an artist who might be dismissed by his rival? Jim Jones has replied by trying very hard to keep his cool. In an effort to look stronger, he has posted videos of himself exercising, but it's clear that his usual studio environment is absent. Making sure that everyone knows that he is a king without a throne is 50 Cent's goal. Considering that 50 Cent has declared that he will not take any legal action is a very real option, even if it is less than a full exit or compensation. By asking Jim whether he wanted to be friends, he even ridiculed the idea of friendship because the balance of power had shifted so drastically. Everyone was sarcastically reminded that in 50 Cent's universe, there are just friends and enemies, not friends. The Monday warning countdown has gone viral. Fans and critics are monitoring their feeds in expectation of 50 Cent uploading a video showing the locks being permanently welded shut or the equipment being carried out into the street. 50 Cent has expertly converted a private commercial dispute into a public demonstration of dominance. He is using his massive fan base on social media to ensure that Jim Jones is unable to avoid the disgrace. Due to a recorded legal and financial ambush, one of Harlem's best is currently looking for an exit strategy that does not exist. 50 has a witness and a partner who can verify the claims of poor management by bringing in Sam, which makes it harder for Jim to dismiss this as online rumors. As we explore the ramifications, the focus shifts to the collateral damage. What happens to the other musicians who have a relationship with Jim? What happens to recorded material that isn't yet available to the public? 50 Cent claims that anything that is left in the building beyond the deadline is his property. This may suggest that 50 Cent is the real owner of his rivals and release footage and interviews. This level of control is almost absolute. It's a great example of winning a battle without ever employing a weapon. In 2026, the most powerful weapon you can have is the deed to your enemy's house. The financial and digital records of Jim Jones' career, in addition to his locks, systematically choked his professional existence. As 50 Cent has shown, it evolved into On the Weekend before 50 Cent's infamous Monday deadline. It became evident as the sun started to set that this was about a full asset seizure rather than simply a room with microphones. In order to establish ownership rights over everything within those four walls on behalf of the new ownership group, 50 Cent's legal team began the procedure. The landlord usually has a legal claim to the property that remains after a tenant is evicted for non-payment in the world of commercial leases and upmarket real estate. But now, the Giannet billionaire controlled the cameras, the expensive soundboards, and perhaps the hard disks containing months' worth of unreleased material. Let's discuss it in a wrap. Episodes 2. The psychological struggle intensified as 50 Cent began to hint at the market worth of his new acquisition. He was talking not about the rent, but about the intellectual property. He threatened to just sell the equipment or worse, release the full film of Jim Jones' backstage antics if the payment wasn't paid. This song is the worst nightmare imaginable for any well-known person. For instance, any creative would prefer that intimate conversations, arguments, or technical issues not be seen by the public. Due to his ownership of the studio, 50 Cent essentially owned the deleted sequences of Jim Jones' life. With the public's realization that 50 Cent was now the steward of his enemy's legacy, the I don't warning's tone grew much more ominous. The consequences of this choice were creating a stir in the Bronx's Harlem streets. Jim Jones was treated like a tourist in his own city by 50 Cent, who, in an effort to avoid the problem, would reply with financial documents or a new video of the abandoned studio every time Jim posted a video. 50 Cent then started mocking Jim's way of life on Instagram and comparing it to the eviction notice. 50 Cent drew attention to the ridiculousness of allegedly not being able to support as a business. Locations monthly costs while wearing thousands of dollars worth of jewelry. Knowing that gold chains are not as important as bank statements, 50 Cent takes advantage of this line of action to attack the FOD in a court of law. Character Sam's FOD proved to be a crucial element in this drama. Protected by 50 Cent by having a true business partner who had been the landlord in the past, thereby protecting himself from accusations of personal harassment. Because he could simply argue that he was conducting business and safeguarding an investment, Jim Jones had few legal choices for a counterattack. Suing 50 Cent would speed up the discovery process and expose Jim's financial records, but he would be suing his own landlord. The 50 Cent, conscious of this, understanding that the discovery stage would be the final straw for Jim's business's standing, he was essentially pursuing legal action on behalf of the Harlem rapper. There was no escape from the financial maze. It was a trap inside. As Monday morning got closer, the tension reached a breaking point.